Today we're going to talk about engagement, and specifically people and employee engagement. And if I have to describe this in a bit more detail, it's how to get people to buy into your goals and by doing so bridge the execution gap. The execution gap, of course, is what happens when nothing happens. Instructions may be given, there may be ideas, there may be a vision, but because it is not executed, there is an execution gap. The key factor in getting engagement with people or getting people engaged is to ask the question, do people want to, or do they feel that they have to? And we'll look at this in more detail later. I'd like to refer to something that I call the commitment curve. Now, in the commitment curve, you will notice that it's divided into three areas. Firstly, at the bottom left, you see awareness and understanding. In the middle, engagement. And all of that has to happen before commitment or buy-in can actually take place. So, let's start off looking at button number 1 in the corner bottom right. Firstly, awareness needs to take place. Now, awareness, let me use the analogy of I'm sitting at home on a Saturday morning and reading a book, and I notice my wife is looking at me. Now I'm aware. I'm aware my wife is looking at me. I'm aware that something is supposed to be happening. Something is supposed to be taking place. But I don't yet know what. We need to go over to button number 2 of I need to know more. So now we are at step number 2. I'm aware my wife is looking at me, but I don't know why. So I ask her, what? And she shares with me, the lawn needs to be mowed. Once she shared that information with me, I move on to level number 3, which is, I understand. I now understand why she's looking at me. I have the detail, I have the information, so I now have an understanding. Keep in mind that these are building blocks. The one needs to happen before the next can happen. Now button number 4 kicks in, and this is a pivotal point. Button number 4 says, I think it's a good thing. Here an emotional connection also takes place. If we look at my analogy once again, I understand that the lawn needs to be mowed. But I may not necessarily think it's a good thing. Sure, the yard may look a lot better once the lawn is mowed, but in my mind, it's a heck of a lot of hard work. So I really don't necessarily think it's a good thing. However, my wife, using her skill set that she's built up over the years, knowing how to deal with me, she's learned how to push my buttons. And she says, once the lawn is mowed, or once you have mowed the lawn, I will offer you this ice-cold beverage, or a good meal, or whatever it may be, a chocolate, but it will be reward or recognition. So immediately a different picture is conjured up in my mind, and I now associate the mowing of the lawn with something that is rewarding. Something that I find pleasurable. And now I think it's a good thing. And this is where the question comes in that I referred to earlier on. Do people want to because they think it's a good thing, or do they have to? Because if they think they have to do something, They do not think it's a good thing, and they have not bought into the idea. If you can succeed in pushing button number 4, I think it's a good thing. There's an emotional connection that happens, and suddenly we can move on to step number 5, I want it to happen. I will not want it to happen if I do not think it's a good thing. Coming back to the question, do people do something because they want to or because they have to? So, we need to learn how to push button number 4 in order to move on to step number 5, I want it to happen. Now, wanting it to happen is one thing, but there's a saying that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I hear a lot of people saying, I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I plan to do this, and I plan to do that, but they never actually get round to doing it. So the next step is number 6, I'm making it happen. Now step number 6 is actual activity. It's going over into action. It's taking steps in order to manifest what you want to happen. I actually have to get up off the chair, go outside, take the lawnmower, start it up, and mow the lawn. And only once that has happened, once I've taken those steps, that I've actually actioned the desire of my heart, that I can say, now I've taken ownership, it is mine. And that is where engagement comes into being. So in order to engage people, whether it be friends, family, peers, or employees, it doesn't matter, people in general, these are the steps that you need to go through. There needs to be an awareness. They then need information. Thereafter they can understand. After that, button number 4 is a very important thing, and you need to learn to find out how to push button number 4 for various individuals. For some people it will be this, for other people it will be that. But that is where your people skills come in, and that is beyond the scope of this specific lesson. Only once there's that emotional connection and they think it's a good thing, will they want it to happen. It's not because they have to do something, it's because they want to do something. After that, they still have to go over into activity. They've actually got to step out on the water and make it happen. And then lastly, it will manifest. The goal, the vision, the desire will only manifest after all these steps have been taken. So with all of that in mind, I encourage you to have a look, do an exercise or two with something that you want done, an idea, a task, involving other people, not only yourself. And then put these steps into place and see how you can make it happen to engage with those who are involved. Good luck.